Hi everyone, this is Deepa with Allen Pharmacy and Wellness. And today we're talking about something very, very controversial. So please don't attack me all at once. But I felt that it was very important to address this topic. And so what we're going to talk about today is whether or not we should be sending our kids back to school. Okay, so for most of you, most of my patients, and they know me. I live in the same city that I own my business in. I am a mom to two, gorgeous elementary school boys. So this hits like very close to home, right? I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I own my business in the same city that I live in, and the well-being of the city is deeply important to me. So this affects all of us on a very deep level. And so I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend that I know where everybody's mind's at, or that I know any better than any other mom here. But I wanted to take some time and just address some of the concerns and just put together a little something so that parents can hopefully use this information to weigh out the pros and cons, to figure out what works best for their situation. And that is my only wish here, to see if I can add some kind of thought process, or just add some things that people can think about when they're thinking about whether they should send whether they should send their kids back to school or not. So some of the pros, okay, of going to school, if we haven't considered some of those, are, of course, the learning. Most kids have been out of school since spring break here in Allen, Texas. And so it's been since March now. So it's March, April, May, June, July. I mean, it's almost like 6 months that the kids have been doing either e-learning and not having enough, social interaction with their friends. No, not being able to be in camps this summer, maybe, and everything just pretty much being virtual. So of course the learning is not going to be has not been as great as it would have been if the kids were actually back in school. Another pro is that if we send the kids back to school, then we're helping everybody in the community, because we're actually taking the stance and following the No Child Leaving Behind, No Child Left Behind campaign, right? So of course, that's going to suffer tremendously, if we're not sending the kids back to school. The social skills, the social interaction. Most of us adults, we already feel that tension, and the anxiety when we don't get to see our friends. But as adults, we've kind of coped with it. We found a small circle that we talk to, or maybe occasionally meet with, socially distantly, and we can figure out Zoom calls and this and that to keep in touch. We work still, so we're still in touch with other people, even if it's not face to face, but it's at least virtually we're able to keep in touch with people. So unfortunately, it's not the same thing for some of our kids that might still be in elementary school. They may not be able to set up Zoom meetings to see their friends, although we may be helping them with that, but it's not the same thing. So they are not seeing their friends, and so that's definitely something to think about for their own well-being and mental health as well. And also, many kids depend on the schools to be open, to provide them with meals, to provide them with a safe environment, whether it's to get away from an abusive situation at home, or whether it's just being able to eat something, because for a lot of kids that means that there's no food if they don't go to school. So and not everyone may have access to like computers and the internet and things like that at home, to be able to provide that kind of environment that kids would get if they were to go to school. So those were some of the things that I at least could come up with on my own, about the pros of actually sending the kids back to school. And then there's also some of the concerns, right? As we all are aware of and dealing with on a daily basis. A lot of the concerns that I've gotten is also we don't, I've had patients say to me that, well, I don't want my kid to be, used as a guinea pig, because, clearly we don't have enough evidence, or, we don't have enough information to decide whether it's going to be, what the level of effect it's going to have on the kids. Right now, yes, the American Association of Pediatrics, and so many researchers, so many dentists, so many pediatricians, they're all saying the same thing, to send the kids back to school, and that, yes, they would even send their own kids back to school. But the truth of the matter is, schools have been shut down since March. So it is, as much as we have that information, nobody can guarantee that 100% that the kids will not be affected. And even if there are saying that it's only 1.7% of the kids that get affected, and even smaller of those actually transmit the disease, or, there's not been any severe, consequences in kids. But those are all speculations based on, there's a lot of research to support it, but at the end of the day, it's still speculation. So there is a lot of fear and panic and anxiety. And so that is a real valid concern for a lot of parents, and some parents and some families might also have a family at home that might be immunocompromised. So they might be afraid that, even if the kids are going to be okay, are they going to bring something home with them that's going to maybe potentially, negatively affect the parent or the grandparents or anyone like that. So that is a legit concern as well that a lot of the parents have. Also, flu season is just around the corner. So we have no idea, what is going to be coming out of the barrel here with, throwing in the flu virus along with the mix of COVID and other situations. So, and we all know, right, that kids, they spread germs like anyone's business, because they don't know that they're going to keep, we don't know if they're going to keep their masks on. There's just so many, they're going to be fidgeting with it. They're not going to be wearing it properly. There's just going to be so many variables. And of course, the biggest con is, kids falling behind, right? Because unfortunately, it's not going to be the same level playing field for a lot of kids, because not everybody will even, if you have the option to decide between sending your kid to school and, being okay with virtual schooling, consider yourself very lucky, because at least you have that option. There are so many parents that don't have that option. For so many kids, that is not an option at all. There are so many economic reasons, parents that might be essential workers, or just, parents that have to go to work in order to support the family. So it's between, okay, do I keep my kid home or do I feed them? A lot of us are fortunate that we don't even have to make those kinds of decisions, but just know that there are those people that are, and there are a lot of those people that are, struggling with these decisions and not even having a chance to decide what would be best for their kids. A lot of parents, so they don't have the option. There are a lot of our kids that are special needs that might need that extra attention, which is not going to be the same thing if they actually learn virtually. They don't have that option to stay home. And so just know that is such a big concern for so many parents. So thank your stars if you at least have that option to stay home. And if one parent can help with homeschooling or whatnot, it's not a walk in the park for any of us at this point. But to at least have the opportunity to think and be able to take those decisions is already such a big blessing. So I wanted to at least take a bit of time and give a huge shout out to the teachers, because now they're also being put on the line, right? Because their well-being, their family's well-being is being jeopardized as well, and they're also being asked to step up and put themselves in that harm's way. So if we have not taken a moment to reflect on that, then I think about the teachers and the sacrifices that they're making. We all love our teachers. We know how much they, even at the beginning of every school year, they spend their own money, out of their own pockets to make sure that their kids and the kiddos in the classroom have the items that would help facilitate better learning. But now this is calling on them, it's asking way too much out of them. So just make sure that we're thinking about all these people that are coming together to help our kiddos have that education. And at the end of the day, we're all going to be using some of the things that we talked about, the positives and the negatives, to come up with a decision for ourselves and what works best for our families. But at the same time, make sure, we can't undermine the socioeconomic consequences that this is going to have. for a lot of kids, this is going to be, they're going to fall behind. It's the effects of that is not going to be just gone in 1 year. A lot of those are going to stay around for years and years, and it's going to take all of us to come together to bridge that gap. So no matter what, just remember to be kind. Try to refrain from judging each other for the choices that we're all making. I'm sure that there's no right or wrong, right answer here, and there's nothing that we can do that will just one size fits all type of thing. So just like the mask thing, just like the pandemic thing, just like the should the businesses open or shut down, it's going to only add to that, and it's going to add to the decisions that we have to make as a race and as a community, to help each other whenever possible, to be kind with each other, to not be judgmental, to try to give people some grace if they are not at their best, because I can only imagine the amount of stress that people are in under these days. So if someone cuts you off on the road or whatever, just try to remember that everybody's so stressed out and everyone's trying to deal with this in their own way. So give people that grace, and if you have any other questions, if I can help clarify any of those situations, I know the schools are taking all the precautions that they can be, with sanitizing, making sure the places are ventilated as much as possible, making sure the kids wear masks in hallways, making sure that they're distanced enough from each other in the classrooms, and they're taking all these precautions. So based on whatever your family's decision might be, I don't think that there's a right or a wrong. We just have to stick together and help each other in that way. So, and if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm only a phone call away, and we've gotten through so much already, and I'm sure that we will get through the rest of this together. Thank you.